I might.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Town of LaPointe public hearing on the zoning rewrite, 5 o'clock, May 20th, 2026. Got a 5 here. If anybody hasn't signed in, if you could please sign in. And we've got extra copies of the zoning rewrite, if anybody would like a copy to reference. Call to order, roll call.
Charles Brummer.
Amy Baxter.
Jim Peterson.
Paul Wilhelm. Rich will give us an overview.
All right. Everyone able to see the PowerPoint that's online?
No.
So there is a handout. So there is a handout that everyone can pick up if you have it. We wanted to spend just a few minutes and kind of go over the process. And let me start out by saying it's great to see everyone tonight. I really appreciate everyone taking the time to come out, and thanks for the comments that we've received so far. I've shared those with the entire TPC team today, and as those have been coming in. So thank you very much for that. So wanted to spend just a couple minutes on just kind of where we've been and where we're at. I see some faces that have been in the room as we've gone through this process, and I see some new faces. So just kind of want to get everyone on the same page here. So the zoning ordinance was last updated in 2019, and oh my gosh, that was 7 years ago at this point. The town went through a comprehensive plan amendment back in 2024, and what that really did is it created a roadmap for the community to follow to achieve its goals. So since that point in time, we've been taking a look at the zoning ordinance and going through it in depth. It's 115-page document or so. Looking at that, looking at the comprehensive plan, looking at current trends, and trying to incorporate everything that's ongoing with an eye to the past as well as an eye to the future. So last fall, we had a draft document that the Town Planning Commission had completed. And we shared that with everyone in mid-August. And that was leading up to our first public hearing, and that was held on September 3rd in this very room. And there were a lot of comments and questions, and we'll get into that a little bit here on the next page. But as a result of that public hearing and everyone's input, we held 3 additional question and answer sessions later in September and October. And since then, we've been reviewing and discussing with your community input, which is critical. And we've prepared a final draft for public review, which will ultimately go to legal to review, and then town board for review and approval. So like I mentioned, we had that public hearing, and for a couple of weeks afterwards, we heard a lot of input on, I want to make sure that my comments is included. So we heard you loud and clear. And that's why we conducted those 3 additional listening sessions, literally going through page by page, section by section. Like I said, at the end of September, and then 2 meetings in October. So, today, we want to hear from you. And it's great that everyone is here in attendance. Your feedback and input are always appreciated. We talk about that, during subsequent meetings. And we want to hear, what modifications did you like? What modifications did you not like? Do you have questions? What are your concerns? What would you like to see differently and why? So like I said, this is our final draft of the zoning ordinance. We always used to say it's getting close to, pencils down at this point, but now is your opportunity to please give us, any feedback. We're going to be reviewing those comments. We're going to be making additional modifications. So please let us know what you like and what you don't like and why. So again, it's great seeing everyone. And thanks for your attendance. I'm going to turn it back over to Paul, who's going to, lead the discussion as we go through the document. And I think Paul's going to start off with public comments. For anyone that's in the room. Now I received a bunch of emails today that I've shared. We have Paul, as well as the whole team, has printouts of those. We're gonna give you an opportunity, if you'd like to read it first, that would be great. Otherwise, we can read those into the record. And then we will go on to everyone that's online for their comments, and then we'll go I almost want to say page by page, but section by section review of the document. So
Yeah, I was thinking of doing this section by section, but there's an awful lot of people here in regards to healing motion. So I think if we just specifically talked about healing motion first, that would be helpful. So if anybody has any comments on the healing motion.
We do, in fact. Paul, thank you.
Oh.
Introduction, and I appreciate the chance to pop in here. So, as Paul said, we don't have a comment today about a specific revision in the work that the TPC has done to rewrite the zoning ordinance. So I guess to begin, I just appreciate the work this committee does. They've been working awfully hard for a long time, more than a year, I think. A lot of, I'm sorry, yes, Ken and Martin Meyer. The record. But we do have a related concern that is directly involves town zoning regulations. And it's an issue that we believe serves the common good of island residents and guests. So today we'd like to present a proposal we've come up with for solving what is a very unusual, but in our view, a very important island challenge. The original conditional use permit for Healing Motion Wellness Center as a home business was granted by the town board 4 years ago, for context. During these past 3 years, we, and I should be more specific, Marty, Michaela, Ellen, Nate, Becky, Kelsey, Maureen, Natalie, and others, and Margie have been happy to provide exercise and wellness programs for island residents and guests to improve their health and wellness, as well as complement the work of the LaPointe Clinic for patients of the clinic who need to improve strength and balance. Marty and I would now like to ensure that Healing Motion can continue providing those services as far into the future as island residents want and need. But current zoning regulations require that Healing Motion be sited on the same parcel of property as our primary residence. Eventually, we won't own that parcel any longer, and the likelihood that the next owners of 900 Big Bay Road will not want to operate a wellness center are slim. Therefore, we are proposing that we be allowed to site Healing Motion on its own separate parcel of property to ensure its long-time viability. We view Healing Motion as essentially an island community center, and we believe that we've demonstrated that its continued operation offers important benefits to island residents and guests. So therefore, today we're submitting a proposal to the TPC that would permit the continued operation of our lawful home business in the S1 district after separation from the associated dwelling through a land division or certified survey map. This concept was designed to accommodate Healing Motion without broadly opening the S1 district to standalone commercial use. We hope the TPC will agree and recommend approval of our proposal to the town board once we formally submit that request via a new CUP in the near future. We also realize that this is a very unusual request, but we also believe strongly that it serves the interest of island residents and guests quite well. And we hope you'll agree and support our efforts to accomplish what we view as a very important goal. We're submitting the request today because we view this as a community issue with the goal of serving the common good of Madeline Island residents and guests. So, without further ado, I'll just give you all, I think, enough copies for everybody here in your committee. Got a couple of others here, but if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah.
This is a public hearing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can't get off.
So this, you want to basically create a lot for Healing Motion.
We would have a survey done to create a lawful, legally sized lot in this one, but it would be for the Healing Motion enterprise. And
And you
in
have,
future-
would it be a substandard lot or do you have
No.
enough lane?
So, plenty, it would be it would fit current zoning requirements for the S1 district.
Anybody else?
Can you tell me how big that lot would be?
The minimum size in this one, 3 acres, larger than 3 acres.
Paul?
Almost sounds like spot zoning. And quite frankly, if the Myries agreed to the conditions of their existing CUP at the time, shouldn't they abide to those conditions? Just asking as a bystander.
Thank you. Anybody else?
You explain what that means?
Spot zoning,
Or what
spot zoning that one area is zoned different from everything else around there. It's a cookie cutter for one spot in this area. And it's to put it bluntly, the dog isn't wagging the tail is wagging the dog.
As an example,
They always put it this way, they always say, they always say, well, spot zoning isn't illegal per se, but the people that say that are the ones that want spot zoning.
the city of Bayfield is full of spot zoning.
Let's make an exception for this person. No, let's make an exception for this person and this person and this person. And then where does it end?
Don't we have some already with the airport being a zone of its own, and then you've got the town having a light commercial area right there, right across from Healing Motion. It's all sort of spot zoning along there.
Well, I don't know if the airport is technically spot zoning. It's, yeah,
I was just gonna bring that up. What's across the street from them? It's a business. The airport is a business.
right.
So when zoning is first established and you have a zoning map and you go around the community and look at all the operations, they're already grandfathered in. Whatever that person was doing when you very first application for a zoning ordinance, you have a map. And so you may have people, maybe it didn't happen here, but it happens in a lot of places that I'm familiar with, where one guy's got a mechanic shop, in the middle of a farm.
A map change is a tool for zoning.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to bring that up, that spot zoning happens usually at the beginning of an ordinance, or the zoning ordinance on the map. But to me, it seems, and this is my opinion, there's businesses across the street, basically, and there's the small business area for, what do you call it, where you can make your own business on these lots, it's airport land.
Well, there's a lot of support for this, so a map change, would be something that we would definitely look at as we, in my opinion, think outside the box on this. Anybody else on healing motion?
Did you state your name, David?
So,
Did you state your name?
no, my name is Dave Markford.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Anybody online with a comment for healing motion?
Yeah, hi, Paul. It's David Allen. So I also live along Big Bay Road there. For some period of time, well, if we can go back so far, Leona's was directly next door to our property, and then Bud's Oasis was directly next to our property for some period of time. And I think we've encountered commercial activities out there. And I think, Healing Motion, I think from a business and a contribution perspective to the community is a great thing, but this is a commercial activity, and I'd be very careful about putting it in a residential area. It's proven to be pretty disruptive when we've got one right next to our place.
Thank you, David. Anybody else online? Okay, sure.
Archie Frederickson. Healing Motion has been a significant contributor to our community, to the loans, especially in the older people in our community. It should be valued and continued.
Thank you. Yes,
I'd also like to make comments with Gina Ela
okay.
as another healthcare provider on this island. I can't say enough about the value of what is offered at Healing Motion for the entire community, not only for physical fitness, but for the mental health of the folks on this island, especially in the winter, when what we can do outside is limited. It offers a great community space with great exercise and mental health opportunities for folks. We have one very busy physical therapist on this island who is working year round to make the community safer, have better balance, meet the needs of the clinic. And this the Healing Motion offers another opportunity for people to meet their physical fitness and wellness needs that Marnie cannot do because she's only one person. And it would be detrimental, in my opinion, to this community if it's not allowed to continue.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes,
George Hecker, the purpose of this meeting is not to discuss and resolve an individual zoning request or CUP or anything. We're really getting into the weeds on one project request, which I have neutral opinion on. I'm not debating that, but I'm talking about the subject of why we're here tonight. I think it's been an hour debating.
I think we're almost concluded with it.
Second your thought, George.
Anyone else on healing motion? Yes.
Niall Norton, summer resident, but during the winter, when I was recuperating from hip back surgery, we took advantage often of the video that was sent out from Healing Motion to join this balance class and exercise. And in fact, my first day back on the island today, I was happy to be able to go to that center and just work on learning to walk again from the services that they provide there at the Healing Center. And really, it's been a really important part of our life physically.
Thank you. Anyone else before we move on? Yes.
Sheila Weir, can you offer a conditional use permit for? I understand there's the zoning, but also for the industry or the business that's on there with the hours limitation or some sort of condition that prevents full-on commercial use, so it doesn't become Leona's or a bar. That's just a question for the zoning board.
Hours of operation can be a condition. But they'd have to go through a conditional, a CUP amendment. At the very least.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to and I think we'll handle this by section.
Yeah, did you want to go through on comments and, or did you want to do it by section by section?
Yes.
I thought you were gonna have comments at the beginning. And you want to go through by section.
Well,
I have.
yeah, we can just do comments. I was gonna just plan on going to, comment section by section, but overall comments would be okay.
The Glenn Carlson. And we have to use glasses, unfortunately. So before addressing two specific items in the proposed ordinance, I want to begin by expressing my appreciation to everyone who has invested substantial time and effort in this process. A complete top to bottom zoning ordinance rewrite is not easy work. It requires countless hours of meetings, discussions, research, revisions, and balancing competing objectives. I particularly want to thank members of the Town Planning Commission, Rich Kula, town staff, and all others who have contributed their time and expertise to bringing us to this point. Whatever our views may be on particular provisions, everyone involved has devoted a significant amount of energy toward creating an ordinance intended to serve the town well into the future, and that effort deserves recognition and appreciation. So thank you. My comments tonight concern two specific issues. First, and I've mentioned this before, I would propose increasing the size of the Town Planning Commission from 5 members to 7 members. The Planning Commission deals with issues that can have significant long-term consequences for the town, for property owners, and for future development. Increasing the commission from 5 members to 7 members would broaden representation and perspectives and provide a larger pool of experience and viewpoints. Second, I would propose revisions concerning deadlines for the TPC to act on a land use or CUP application. As I understand the proposed ordinance, there are several provisions establishing time periods within which action is expected from the Town Plan Commission. However, missing those deadlines keeps owners in limbo with no recourse. Applicants should have a clear path towards receiving a decision, whether approval with conditions, or denial. Without a consequence for inaction, an application could potentially remain unresolved indefinitely. That can frustrate applicants, create uncertainty, and complicate appeal rights. I am not suggesting that applications should be automatically approved simply because time has passed. Rather, my suggestion would be that if the Town Planning Commission does not act by a deadline, and the applicant does not agree to an extension, the application should be deemed denied for purposes of appeal. This approach preserves the commission's role while also ensuring that applicants retain a meaningful right to obtain a decision and pursue any available appeal process on a timely basis. Again, these comments are offered in the spirit of strengthening an ordinance that has already benefited from a great deal of hard work. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Anybody else, comment on the zoning ordinance rewrite? Paul?
Got a letter. If you want to go through this section by section, outlined it, or do you want me to read the letter, just submit the letter?
You're welcome to read it.
It's not as long as the one they did last September, but I do have references to it. It's handwritten. It's not typed or anything. Dear Commissioners, a few more thoughts on the latest changes in the town's proposed zoning ordinance rewrite from last September 2025. There are references to the 9225. One, you never kept the definition of campground as more than one camping unit as is suggested earlier. See 2.112, page 5 of the latest ordinance. 2, under definitions, dwelling accessory, 2.125, page 7. You didn't add that garage shop space is included in the square footage calculation for an accessory dwelling, again, as they suggested. 3, glamping is still a definition, just curious as to why. Number 4, in section 3.4, page 22. English at the moment. Page 22. You still list boarding houses, dormitories, and educational facilities in the W2 zone. Please remember that W2 is a low density zone and not a commercial zone, at least not yet. In section 3.12, page 34, you still have a mixed use zone and you will still have the same problems that I outlined in my 9.2.25 letter. People don't understand zoning. They will think mixed use is the same as a C1 commercial zone, and it's not, as demonstrated by Bob Hartzell at the 5.6.26 zoning meeting. More on that one later. Mixed use serves the neighborhood it's located in. It doesn't draw in a tract from other sites. Again, see my 9.2.25 letter and my article from the Duluth News Tribune. 6. Under section 4.3D, pages 59-61, you return temporary and long-term camping units to 1, and camping units can't be rented out. At least that's a win for better zoning. Now you only have to enforce the multiple camping units that currently are in violation of the existing ordinance. Curious as to when that's going to happen. Number 7, signs, section 5, pages 64-67. Thank you for keeping section 5.4B9, namely no permanent off-premise directional signs advertising a business in the ordinance. However, who will enforce this, in particular the existing violations on Middle Road? I also see you allow a temporary off-premise special event sign, 5.5C on page 67. You better specify how many events per year, such as only 1, how many signs, and how long the signs can stay up, such as 48 hours. Otherwise, I promise you liberties will be taken, such as 20 signs being up for 90 days, etc., etc. Under 8, let's see, under junk salvage yards, 6.1B, page 7. If you can't or won't enforce multiple campers or off-premise directional signs, forget about enforcing junk and salvage yards. It's just not going to happen. Under accessory dwelling, 6.2A, page 72, you left in the size limitations. Thank you, another win for better zoning. Number 10, section 6.4, pages 73-75, both home occupation and home business. Please re-examine this whole section, home business as well as the mixed use zone. I foresee nothing but trouble by allowing businesses in the long-term residential and wilderness areas, similar to what I predicted when I advised against allowing events at rental properties. A few meetings ago, the Town Plan Commission chair stated that, quote, no one could predict the Peterbilt truck hitting straight for us, end quote, in regards to allowing large events at short-term rental units. Well, I predicted it during a public hearing, but no one listened. Likewise, there will be zoning conflicts with home businesses and mixed-use zones because people don't understand zoning and maybe they don't want to understand zoning. At a zoning meeting on May 6, 2026, Bob Hartzell floated the idea of having a large-scale outdoor boat storage as a home business in the R1 zone, an idea that the zoning board wisely said no to simply by reading the ordinance. Who knows what would have happened if you didn't have a few zoning board members that were so familiar with the ordinance. Number 11, section 7, conditional use CUPs, page 78-83. Could be better. Most of my concerns would be on the town board level, not at the town planning commission level. But at least there are mechanisms in place to avoid stockpiling permits, as have been done in the past. However, enforcement, as always, is a concern. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
With attachments.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody online with a comment, or you want to read your letter?
Alex Hecker here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'm not driving in Canada this time, so. Well, I submitted a letter very last minute. I apologize, but I just wanted to go over and I won't read it word for word, but it relates directly back to my letter that I submitted back in October last year, which referenced the sections and pages and all that. I guess first of all, thank you. Like everyone's expressed their appreciation for all the hard work. These are not easy things to rewrite or debate in public hearings and all that. So appreciate everyone's commitment. I guess high level, I mean, a lot of things were reorganized and clarifications, so I really appreciate all that. And some things were incorporated that I suggested. However, there's a few things that I still see as an issue in terms of, really this is all in the spirit of, what I see the zoning rewrite is promoting more density on the island. And my really biggest concern is, that's the adhesion to the comprehensive plan that was adopted, and then our overall infrastructure limitations of the island, everything from sanitary to ferry to emergency services. I didn't do the calculation of, if everyone did what they could in the new zoning law, what would be the population of the island, but it would be a lot more. Specifically, I have a few items that I just, that didn't get changed or addressed. And you probably aren't going to comment back on why, but I'll just say it for the record. In October, we suggested that accessory dwelling units, the size limitations be incorporated into the definition, and that was incorporated, so I appreciate that. I'd also recommended that accessory dwelling units be only not a permitted use in any district, but only conditional use, and that they be on 2+ acres or more. That wasn't incorporated. Under multi-household dwellings, I was suggesting that those only be permitted uses in C1 and MU1 districts. As it stands now, their multifamily dwellings are allowed in all our districts. There are some restrictions to a number of units and how wide the properties need to be to per unit and all that. So that does limit density, but it still allows density on these properties that are single family. I also, a couple other items on the dimensional requirements. I requested that all our districts be 1 acre minimum lots. That wasn't incorporated. I felt like the wilderness districts should be prohibiting permanent dwellings. Short-term rentals, I was suggesting in October that those be restricted to commercial districts only, and that we regulate high-intensity short-term rentals, and that wasn't also addressed, at least that I saw in the 125-page document. So I guess in summary, like I said, I continue to lack it seems to continue to lack like an infrastructure-based growth analysis. This zoning again would promote density, and I just have major concerns about our capacity on the island. Everything from, like I said, deliveries, emergency response, the capacity of the ferries, the septic and wastewater systems, electrical infrastructure, roads and transportation, emergency services. So that's really all my comments, but I guess I have a parting question, like, where does it go from here? I understand that this is the last public hearing, so I'm just wondering, how can we continue to some bird dog these issues that I have?
Well, we'll be talking about it as a group.
Internally, like no more public hearings?
We'll talk about maybe another public hearing. We have to see how this one plays out first.
Okay. Well, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes.
Backing up Mr. Hecker's comments. I just saw one little detail in. It applies to R1 and R2. Let's not use weasel language where it says, I don't remember the whole ordinance there, but it says we want to, protect for the most part, historic character. Take for the most part out, that have no legal depth or meaning, attorneys would have a great time battling out what for the most part means, so. Overall in the language, that was one of the fuzziest things that I saw, but it should be very specific, black and white language. This can happen, this can happen, this can't happen, not for the most part, or maybe.
Do you know if that was something that was added or was it in the previous ordinance? Are you, was there anything there that you're looking at that was stricken out or highlighted? But
Yeah.
I just wrote it down and I'm gonna look and see if
even if it was.
or previously or, you know, because we did try to clean up a lot of, weird stuff and typos. And I mean, a lot of it was just spent on that. Yeah. So anything else?
This is Alex, that for the most part was not in the previous zoning ordinance.
We added that?
No, wait, I actually have corrected. Sorry, it is in R1. It says for the most part. I don't see it in R2. I don't see it in R3. So I think it was added to those sections.
Keep in mind, this still has to go to legal and now that this phraseology has been brought to my attention, yeah, it's goofy. Well, hopefully the attorney would have caught it and stricken it. So
Attorney would love it.
appreciate it.
That's why we have a public hearing.
Anybody else? Think we should just read these letters or just place them on file, read them into the record?
I think so.
Okay. Steve, did you want to comment? Read your letter.
I don't have a copy of it.
Yeah, we'd appreciate anybody in attendance to read their own letter.
In the queue. Once again, petition the town board and zoning administration to create a directional signage ordinance for home businesses. At first glance, this issue may appear to affect only my business, but someone has to be the first home business operating under a conditional use permit, and there'll be more. This is now my third year attempting to work with both zoning and town board on this issue, and I fear it may be my last. My small home business is struggling under the current signage restriction. Also, there's no legal form of directional signage permitted for home businesses. As a result, illegal signs have appeared throughout the town, the island, including signs from individuals that are connected to local government. When business owners are given no legal method to direct the customers to their location, many feel forced to resort to unofficial or illegal signage simply to survive. A successful business depends on visibility and accessibility. My venue is unique and intentionally located outside of the main commercial area, and I believe it has potential to become a favorite destination for visitors. However, this can only happen if people are able to find it. Comprehensive Plan 2024 states La Pointe has never seriously examined what kind of economy could flourish in the community in addition to seasonal tourism. What options could exist for the community, its business, and its workers, and how the town could help support these enterprises. Now's an opportunity to explore potential options. Unfortunately, despite 3 years of discussion, no uniform action has been taken to support this type of small business development. Town board and zoning committee already have have the authority to address the issue now rather than postponing another year or two. This is not just about one business. The island is home to many small entrepreneurs operated by year-round residents. There's potters, painters, jewelers, weavers, artisans, and future entrepreneurs, all of whom deserve support from this board. A reasonable directional signage ordinance would help these businesses survive and grow. Back to the 2024 community survey, 59.6% of respondents supported more home businesses. 59% support more year-round businesses. 60% believe the town should encourage home businesses. The community has clearly expressed support for economic diversity and small business opportunity. The current regulations do not reflect this goal. I understand concerns regarding excessive signage. However, these concerns can easily be addressed through reasonable limitations through zoning and planning committee, including restricting the size, number, placement. Realistically, there are likely only a small number of businesses that would even require directional signage. I have a photo included in this showing a size, visibility of a simple sign posted temporarily at my corner. As a result, a modest directional sign does not interfere with the island's natural beauty or create visual clutter. It simply helps visitors safely and efficiently locate a local business. My home business needs your help. I'm asking not just for myself, but for existing and future home businesses across the island to adapt a fair and practical signage policy. As I mentioned earlier, this may be my final season if conditions remain unchanged. And that'll affect more people than just myself and Mary. I'm asking the board to act now, help keep this small business and future businesses alive. Please help improve visibility for local businesses during our short tourism season.
Thank you. Okay, I've got one here from Mark Weir that was delivered to Richard via email on May 20th, 4:22 p.m. Please consider the following modifications for the zoning definitions. Permitted obstructions in yards allow certain obstructions from a very limited list to intrude into the required side yard areas up to 10% of the total side yard area. So for example, if the side yard setback is 30, allow certain obstructions to intrude up to 10% or up to 3 feet into that required yard area. Said permitted obstruction in yards can vary. In yards can be very limited lists such as chimneys, roof overhangs, bay windows, pilasters, downspouts, stoops, trellises, arbors, etc. The primary plane of a wall of the building, including all habitable space, must comply with the 30-foot setback to maintain intended openness in the yard area. Another bullet point, building height. Revised definition of building height to the median as measured from the peak to the eave. For example, if the building height is 35 feet, the entirety of a flat roof building can be at that 35-foot elevation. A steeply pitched roof, say 12-12, may penetrate that 35-foot line. Graphics will better illustrate. It is all about massing and avoiding monotony. Attached as a definition and illustrations for consideration. I will not be able to make the meeting tonight. Want to get these recommendations in concept to you for consideration. I can elaborate and passionately advocate for these modifications as I truly believe they lead to better and more varied built environment. Mark Weir, and he also attaches some diagrams. These letters will be placed on file and are a matter of public record. Anybody can request to view them, which brings me to the next grouping of letters, which is all in regards to healing motion. Some of you have already kind of read your letter. They all mimic the same thing, the support. So these letters will be placed on file and anybody can take a peek at them. Any other comments before we close?
This is Alex Hecker again. Just, I wanted to note that, I have nearly 30 people that support my October rewrite edits and what I was highlighting today. So it's, most of those people aren't here today except for my parents.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, thank you for coming and we're adjourned.